Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone out there. Guess I better put that out. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I'll get started. Kind of excited today. I know there's a delay, too, so I have to wait to see. So, yes, welcome here today. Was it September 8th? Very special day. As you know, someone in the royal family is gone. So I'm sure most people have heard about that by now. Hi, you can hear me, girl? Oh, I'm assuming you can by waving. Okay. So yeah, how about that? Long live the queen, huh? Not so much anymore. Loud and clear. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm here today for a couple reasons. We're going to talk about the divine masculine and divine feminine a lot today. I'm going to talk to you about my experiences with kind of figuring out what that even means, what the divine masculine and feminine mean to people. Ooh, look at that. To people in general. And we're actually going to go back and dip into some of the other examples that I was giving and talking about the last live stream. So if you haven't caught that, go ahead and take a listen to that. But I will be going over some of it again, so that you can just stay and listen to this, and hopefully you'll even get more out of it, because there was some details I forgot to even include in some of the examples and stuff that I was talking about, specifically like with forgiveness and stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is communications. Okay, now one thing that was really beneficial to me when I went to school in Florida at the Florida School of Traditional Midwifery, one of the classes that they required us to take, which was very surprising to me at the time. I remember because I was much younger and I thought, what does this have to do with midwifery? But I guess, it was like communications goes along with everyone. Like you have to learn how to communicate with clients. You have to learn how to communicate with people in better ways. But I was really unprepared for what this class was going to teach me. And but the biggest thing that it still to this day is one of the most important classes I've ever took, because it taught me that there were 3 layers to everything. There were 3 layers to everything that people say. I'm sorry, getting distracted by the chat a little bit. I just want to say hi, Barry. I didn't get to your question last week, so if you could ask it again, I will definitely answer it this time. I think it was something to do on the Black Vine, Black Heart. I think there was something you asked specifically, and if you remember that, please put it in the chat, and I will get to that this time, okay? So anyway, let me go on and continue. So there are 3 layers to everything that is said, anything that you're sharing with someone, okay? And those 3 layers are going to be like the superficial level of, and I'm going to give you an example after this, okay? So you're going to have the superficial level first, then you're going to have the motivations and like the intentions level, all right? And then you're going to have the most meaningful and the deepest level, okay, of meaning behind the communications and the things that, because this can include body language and stuff too. I'm speaking specifically about words right now, but this can definitely go into body language and subtle energies and all that kind of stuff that you people are psychics and empaths and people in this community are pretty good at having interactions with, but maybe not coming into their own and figuring out how to read and understand those things. Okay, so let's go back to the Davy Jones and Calypso dynamic, because I want to talk about them as an example of what has happened with the divine masculine and the divine feminine archetypes on this planet. And, really what I found most fascinating about these characters was not only did they have these corrupted versions of what the divine masculine and feminine should look like, but they also had them transform and transmute into new versions of themselves. They had, Will Turner, which I always thought was fascinating because his name's Will Turner. I take, names are important. Will Turner, he's someone who can turn wills. You know what I'm saying? So, and Elizabeth Swann, that just makes me think of Miss White Swan sometimes. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So let's get back to what these characters taught me and what I reflected upon. Because, I went back and I rewatched the movie I rewatched the movies because I wanted to see, especially if I was dealing with a situation in my life where spirit is telling me, oh yeah, you're dealing, this is the situation right now. This is the dynamic between you and this other person. And I'm dealing with the Davy Jones character, and it gets so, okay, it gets so synchronistically weird that I'll even tell you, okay, like one of the main things about Davy Jones, okay, is that, he cuts heart because the Flying Dutchman must have a captain, and the captain of Flying Dutchman, his heart is taken out and it's kept in a chest, okay, for safekeeping. And if you ever want to relinquish that job, then someone has to stab the heart and then their heart has to replace it. Okay. So this was, as I said last week, Davy Jones was a really good example of what happens with the black vine turning into the black heart, what had happened with him. And hold on, there was something else that I was going to mention with that. Okay, with the heart. That's right. The Davy Jones character that I'm dealing with right now literally has a tattoo over their chest that said, "Come and take it," in another language. Okay, so like they're giving me these characters, like Spirit doesn't just give me characters for people for no reason. It's my job though to investigate and figure out, well, how do these characters line up and how am I experiencing similar situations emotionally. Okay, so let's get back. I did make notes to keep myself on track because I was really nervous about today, and with the transits that I'm going to be talking about towards the end of the live here, it makes a lot of sense for me to really be willing to go places that I've not been willing to go before, and to be willing to not try to be secretive in any way, and to really expose myself and let it be seen, all of it, the imperfections, the mess of it. I'm not perfect. I'm not, and like all of us, I want to be relatable. I want people to realize that, we all have our struggles, and I'm certainly not here to try and represent myself as someone who's just, oh, I've achieved the height of my spiritual awareness and I'm, just great, like just perfect. No, that's not the case. So what looking at this film did for me, okay, again, was it gave me the example of, so I knew what Davy Jones's problem was. I knew that his archetype was basically saying that he got hurt, that he gave his love to someone, he gave his heart to a woman, and when he was supposed to be there, when she was supposed to be there for him, she wasn't. Now, what was her, I had to go back and look at, like, what was her reason for that, And her reasoning for that, what she gave him, the reason was that it was just in her nature to be who she was. And she kind of made a good point where she said, would you love me if I was anything else but what I am? But the fact of the matter is, when I started thinking about it, it's like, she also, in the second movie, she also said another thing that gave away herself a little bit, which was the thing that was special about her was that she was changing and harsh as the sea, is what she described herself as. Okay. And I started thinking, well, is that the true picture of what the divine feminine should be? Like, not really. I don't think so. I think that if anything, a divine feminine would have been there, would have taken those feelings into consideration, that she would have been there for him in this way. And because he felt so burned by this, okay, so now I'm going to use the communications class. We're going to go over the 3 layers of what this really is saying. All my scroll friends are back here. So the 3 layers of the example, okay, that we can look at with Davy Jones is the fact that the thing that he was most terrified of being exposed on was the fact that because he felt so hurt that he was willing to teach the Brethren Court, this group of pirates, how to imprison the woman he loves into a single form, because normally she was used to being free. She was used to being all these different creatures. She was used to being the wind. She was used to being the tidal waves, all of these things, but because he felt so burned by it, okay, that superficial level is going to first be, okay, well, he cut out his heart. He was upset and he cut out his heart, and he locked his heart away so she could never get to it. Okay. And then the motivation level of that is going to be, well, because he wants to hurt her back, because he wanted to make a statement, he wanted to make a point. Like, if you do this to me, well, I'm going to not listen to anything you say now. Now I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to be the coolest. I'm going to be the meanest, because that's the reflection that you gave me, was that you were cruel. And then the most meaningful layer of that is going to always come back to, well, it's because he didn't feel like he was worthy of that love somehow. He suddenly deemed himself unworthy of a woman's love because of this one incident. And I feel like that's a really, and there's many more examples that I can give, and we can go over in time, and I will, because I'm going to just keep talking about the things that bring me the most passion. And the things that bring me the most passion is archetypes and stories and things of that nature. Okay. And how they relate to us, and how we can use their examples to heal parts of our own self, because that's the reason why I'm attracted to these things. That's the reason why we're attracted to these characters. Pay attention to what you're attracted to. They're going to tell you things about yourself. They're going to show you wounds inside yourself that need healing. Okay. So the ultimate thing that Davy Jones was most afraid of was being discovered that he had taken these horrendous actions based on feeling burned by love, so to speak. Okay. So, okay, let's see. Yeah. So let's keep going though. So, just give me a second here. Pull this together. This is bringing me back to, I have a note to go back to this point about forgiveness, which I didn't get to tell all the details of my story last week. And there was something I forgot about it, because this is how powerful it is. Your emotions are so powerful. And if you have really strong emotions in a past life over something, if you have longings in a past life for something, you will be given another opportunity to go through something similar so that you can learn the real lesson. Okay, so back then he didn't learn the lesson that, no, he was worthy of love. He needed to make another choice. There was another way to handle it. And for me, okay, the example that I gave last week was that the specific, past lives are really important. That's one of the reasons I put it on my little flyer. If anyone saw that, like, past lives matter. Okay, this is what just feels true for me. Okay, that's all I'm ever really sharing is what feels true for me, what I've discovered along the way. Okay, and so once you start clearing out the karma, I feel like once you start clearing out karma with families, okay, and karma in your present lifetime, all right, with things that you've acquired over from birth until whenever, then I think once you've started doing that, they start bringing up the past life stuff, the past life karma. And the example I gave with the past life karma that taught me forgiveness was this particular gentleman that I had a relationship with for some time. And it came down to a choice that I had to make between him and someone else that I had a better connection with. And I shared with you all last week that, he came to me when we first even started talking, and he told me he remembered me from past lives, and they were good. They were all good, which, like, that's the thing. We're not all going to have great past lives together. They're not all going to be good. Some of them will be, yeah, no doubt. But if we've all been the spectrums of light and dark, like, sometimes there's going to be maybe a little gray area. There's going to be a little bit of a mix. So he had told me, that we'd had this lifetime together, and I decided to take a look because it's just a natural gift that I have. It's with all the meditating and all the things that I've really asked God for help with, because I do. Who doesn't like to know about their past lives? You know what I'm saying? I like to help people figure that out, and it's just a natural talent of mine that if you are ever interested, I can show you exactly how I do it. Okay, reach out to me later though, because we're talking about this other stuff right now. So I looked into the past life, and like I said, I saw a very similar situation to what me and him were living now. And it had come back full circle to where, I'd realized that when me and him experienced this lifetime where he chose another woman over me, when I feel like he basically he had feelings for two different women. And it was repeating the story so hard. I'm like, they just watched it on they could just go back to the other live stream. Well, some people don't want to go back to the other live stream, Cassandra, so you're going to have to keep talking about it. You're going to have to repeat it. So let me just repeat it. basically, the vision I saw with this past life was me in like a Hawaiian Islands type place. I looked very much Hawaiian. I had black hair. It was long. It was curly, like they have it, and kinky a little bit. And the man that I'm talking about, he was very much big, like a Maui type looking character. And it was nighttime, and I was on this island, and I was hiding behind this tree because I was so upset that I was going to show him. How much he had hurt me, and I was going to stab him. And I'd covered myself in mud to camouflage myself, and I threw myself on him and tried to stab him, and it didn't even pierce his skin. And he threw me off of him, and told me I was crazy. And here's the part that I didn't share last week that I totally forgotten about, because words are so powerful, okay? And especially if you repeat things to yourself, okay, even if you don't think that they are powerful, they will show up later on. The things that you continuously ask for in this lifetime will create things for you in future lifetimes. And so what I said to him was, I swear to God, I am going to do to you exactly what you have done here to me now. I'm going to find a way. I don't care how long it takes me. I'm going to find a way to put you in this exact situation that you have put me in now. And sure enough, I got my wish. And here I was at the precipice of what am I going to do with this information now? Now here's that opportunity. Finally, I am in that position where it's reversed. But now for the first time, I could see it from his point of view, because I was in his shoes now. And I could see that, oh, wow, that's right. The love is real. Like, I did care about him. I did love him. I just had a better connection with this other person. Okay? And so that was when I chose forgiveness. That's when I realized, I don't want to hurt this person. And he didn't want to hurt me. I don't think people, especially really loving people, I don't think that they ever intend to hurt another person in these ways. When if you really care about someone. In fact, that's really the main thing that causes people to hide things, is them being afraid and lacking courage to tell the truth about what they're really feeling and what they're really thinking. Because I have certainly lived that life. A long time ago, one of my first live streams, I talked about how, my first marriage ended. Okay. And the reason that I had behaved so unethically in that marriage wasn't because I didn't love him. It was just because I was simply too scared to tell him my real thoughts and feelings. And I thought, well, you know what I'll do? I'll just do what I want, and I'll just, like, he doesn't need to know, type of thing. But that's just not, that weighs on you. That actually literally starts adding weight to your physical body. When I have decided to really cut through to the core of everything and just lay it all out there, and literally, I can't tell you the monumental physical differences that I feel. I feel like a weight comes off me. The last time I went out and like really let it all out, it felt like I'd taken an entire lead coat off my body and just put it down. So finding courage in yourself to tell the truth, even if you're afraid that it's going to hurt that other person, is just really important to do, because if someone really loves you, they're going to be able to handle that truth. I'm not saying be harsh, okay? I'm not saying be unkind, okay? There's a way to tell your truth, even if it's going to be a painful truth, and to still have it not come across as an attack if someone can hear you out correctly, okay? So how they brought this up to me, okay, with this, why they were driving home this Davy Jones Calypso characters, okay, was because of another past life connection that I had with this person. Okay. And this was a very hard thing for me to uncover. I had actually touched the boundaries and the borders of it previously, like years ago, when I was trying to uncover it. It was actually blocked by a wall of tears that I just could not penetrate, and I just could not push through it. It just, with the emotions of it, just poured out of me so hard that I couldn't even see it, which is unusual for me, which bothered me. Because I'm like, why can't I see this? I always can find these things. What in the... And finally, I gave up. I started asking them, I'm like, what could be so horrible that I'm not allowed to remember this? But some part of my soul deep down said, you don't want to remember this. You don't want to. Okay. So it just so happens though that it did finally get uncovered. I'm not looking at the visuals of it. I still don't want to know the visuals of it. I do get the greater sense of what happened along those lines. Okay. And the Davy Jones character in my life, like the part that he played in that. And I know that in this lifetime, the people that meant the most to me in this particular lifetime that was blocked by the wall of tears, I finally figured out what it was that I had said to myself that made all of this come back around. Okay. hmm And what I had said to myself basically was this, like, because it was such a traumatizing event. But that's the thing. Past life traumas, they'll stay in your body. They stay in your body somehow. The density of it, you take that with you. And so, the density I kept talking about with you guys over here the past few weeks, it's even more open now because I finally was able to confront that. And I finally realized that the thing I wanted these people, the one thing that I wanted to come back so desperately and let these people know, okay, was how much I loved them and how much losing them absolutely devastated me to my core, to where I still carried it. I still carried it all these years, however many years later, because they basically showed me and told me like this was a lifetime in Babylon. Okay. The person that I'm talking about, the Davy Jones character, one of the first things that they said to me when we were first talking was that they were a descendant. Somehow they knew they were a descendant of Nimrod. Like all these little breadcrumbs that they leave for you to uncover the truth. Now, when I relate that back to the Davy Jones character, I look at him and I think, okay, well, the one thing he was most terrified of being discovered was the fact that he was the one that hurt Calypso the way she ended up getting hurt and getting bound into a human form. And once that was released, yeah, everything changed. Once she was released, and once she got to see, like, once he got to see, oh, she is free now. And he did end up dying, and he did end up being with her because she was the sea. And so he ended up dying, and he ended up falling into a one of those cyclone things in the sea. Okay, he fell down into one of those, and he did get to spend the rest of his eternity with her, so to speak. Well, I like to look at it as what they really did was they transmuted into these new characters, these more restored, their templates being restored characters. Okay, now how does that relate to me? Well, once I was able to uncover and unlock and push past this wall of tears and release it and share it with this person, like, I think this is what's been going on this whole time. I think that this is what your soul came back here to make right, so to speak. Because not only do I know that I for sure said to myself, like, I want to make sure that I have to let these people know how much I love them. They cannot, because it's so powerful. What if you never got an opportunity to tell that person that even? That's another thing that I always think about when I go to share my feelings with people. The reason, the motivation, that deeper layer underneath all that is because a part of me just really knows the value and the meaning behind, you never know what could happen tomorrow. You never know if that person could be completely ripped out of your life the very next day. And what if you didn't let that person know how you felt? And I just was not ever satisfied with, in this lifetime, I've not been satisfied with that. I've always just tried to make it an effort to let people know the loving feelings, okay? The loving feelings, because I think that they deserve to know. And I think that this was left over from a past lifetime. Now, the thing that I wanted to happen with this Davy Jones character, though, the thing that I was saying back then anyway, was I'm going to see him brought to justice. I'm going to see him brought to justice, but here I am all these years later, okay? New experiences, new life, more wisdom from other lifetimes. And I started asking myself, what is justice? What would even be justice? You know, I do not believe in the tit for tat mentality. I do not believe in eye for an eye. Maybe at some point I did, but I don't believe in that now. And so the thing that I feel like it drove home for me was, how do you find forgiveness? How do you show this person, no, it's, I forgive you and you're a different person now and you should let that go. What I said to this person was, I was like, you need to follow the story to the end. I was like, and you need to kill the character. You don't like a character, kill the character. Transform yourself into something else that you want, something else that is more in alignment with who you really are inside. One of the things that really stuck out to me when I was listening to an interview one time, or a lecture by Alex Collier, and he said something that just really stuck with me, and it hit me like a truth, like a truth hits me, because when the truth hits me, I know it, I feel it. And what he said was, at the end of our life, when we do our life review or whatnot, that it wasn't the mistakes that we made in life that haunt us. It was the love that we withheld and the love that we did not share. And so reincarnation gives us that opportunity to come back and make another choice. Every time you make a mistake, the universe will give you another opportunity to make the right choice, to do it again. Because that's what your soul is asking for. It's asking for you to live true and authentically to your nature and who you are. And if you really shed all of the programming and you heal those wounds up and everything like that, you are God. You're always that. You're not your bad behaviors. Okay? You're not your bad behaviors. You have to learn to differentiate between the true nature of a person, which is something that you only can be discovered when you sit in stillness with your own heart, and you quietly, and you listen to it, and you listen to what it's really saying, what it's really speaking. Okay? Because the ego is going to be loud and it's going to shout, you're this, you're that, you're this other thing, but your heart knows who you truly are. And that's where I try to live from the most, is thinking thoughts and feelings that are from my heart. Because again, I've said before, I know how powerful the thoughts are. Okay. Yes, so what did Davy Jones long for? He longed for love. He saw this person, I feel like the past lifetime was that they saw love that they didn't have, and they wanted it, and they didn't know how to get it the right way, so they stole it and they took it. And now this person has to come back, like a lot of us, because we all have been, our spirits, maturity-wise, they all have to go through this. And we've all had dark lifetimes. So I just really hope that people don't beat themselves up if they do be willing to go back and look at past lives that might not have been so positive, because we've all been the full gamut of light and dark. Okay, so after I shared all this, and I went through all this, and I've been struggling with this person for some time now, and just trying to figure out, like, why is there's underlying emotions here? Like, I do not understand. They don't line up with anything this person specifically is doing, really, but I don't understand it. And once I was able to uncover this past life and purge this truth and these feelings, it was like another layer of opening for God's love to come through. It was like more of that density that I talked about that had been stuck here for so long. It's pushed back now. Before it was like a funnel, and now it's like pushed back to here. So it's so important to really go inside yourself and uncover, what is in that density. When you feel inside your own body, when you bring your awareness inside your own body, what parts do you not feel like you're getting sensations at? What parts feel dark, or like just awareness? Like where is it at? Because that is where these things are stored at, and this is where we need to, clean that out, so to speak. Okay, so let's keep going. Well, I'll stop for a second, I guess, and just say hi to everyone in the chat. I'm getting ready to kind of change over a little bit, but not too much. Oh, hi everyone. Hi, Tinfoil Hatter. I see you there. Oh, hello, Matthew. I see you. Oh, I see Chris too. There's Chris. Is there anyone else I'm missing? I'm so glad you guys could make it. I'm going to read most. Oh, hi, Dennis. I see you too. Oh, and Trevor. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to read more of these comments when I get to the end of what I'm saying and go over that, because that's just the only way I can do it, guys. I'm trying. I'm still learning. I'm still like bumpy, you know. Bear with me. I appreciate all of you guys actually putting up with this and just letting me go and figure it out, you know. Okay, so so archetypes are just so important, okay? And I really think that you can look at most movies and most relationships in movies and shows. You can look at them not just because, you know, like I said, I find characters, I find people that I know, and I find a character for them, you know what I'm saying? And then I can watch this character with my character, and I can see, okay, how does this interact? But then you can take it another level down, okay? And you can say, okay, well, this is the divine masculine and this is the divine feminine. Okay, what does these two particular characters tell me about the interplay between those two things? Okay, and so I highly invite you to do that sometime, to watch a movie or film or whatnot, and just try to look at it as, what is this explaining to us about the masculinity and femininity, and how does the health of that look? Okay. So the reason that I started asking myself this was because, you know, I'm a mother, okay, and I'm a woman, and I'm, you know, a human here on Earth, and I enjoy love, and I also knew that I'd been through the same programmings as everyone else had been through when it comes to being united in oneself, I guess you could say. Because I mean, whoever talks about that you have that you are actually already a whole inside yourself, and you have a masculine version of you and you have a feminine version of you. You know, most people just think about, oh, I'm in a female body, I'm a female, you know what I'm saying? But it's deeper than that. There's more than that. Okay, so what I started to notice and what I started to recognize, I started to ask myself, well, when do those templates for divine masculine and feminine get formed? Because I really think it's those templates that are the foundation for our future relationships. Okay, the relationships that so many people struggle with, the romantic relationships, you know, the partnerships, the marriages, the boyfriend and girlfriend things, you know. Well, where does the template for a healthy version of that start? Okay, I started asking myself this, and for me, I am very much passionate about child psychology, and I went to school for that for some time. I never graduated. I never finished the classes, the whole program, I should say. I finished a lot of the classes, and so what I started noticing, because of the fact that I have so many children, I was able to notice patterns that were happening, okay, with my sons, okay, because what I started to realize was, okay, you know, how I am, who I am, is what they're going to go out there and they're going to look for in a woman. The feminine version, the goddess version that I shower them with, is what they're going to go out and look for. Now, why is this? Because all children, what I noticed for my sons, like I said, I have 5 sons before I had my daughter. All my sons fell in love with me right off the bat. I did not expect this. I did not know when I had my first child that I was literally going to fall in love with this little creature, and this creature was going to fall in love back with me, you know. And that's how it's supposed to be when bonding goes right, you know. A child and the parent, they're supposed to fall in love. This bonding, this happens. Now, particularly with the opposite sex parent, I think that one thing to note that was very interesting, from all of my sons, all of them, around the ages of 5 or 6, they all said to me, you know what, Mom, I love you so much. You're never going to have to be alone. You're never going to have to worry about being alone, because I'm going to marry you. That's right. I'm going to marry you one day. And and I giggle, you know. It was so flattering. It's cute. Like, and the first time I'm like, oh, that's adorable, my first son. But then every son, of mine is saying this. And I thought to myself, that is very, very, very interesting. You know, like, so this is where the template for that is being formed, because it's not just about making sure that the child falls in love with you and bonds with you. It's about how you show them how a woman is supposed to treat that love. So how I was going to treat their heart was going to be what they're going to go out there and look for in a woman to treat their heart later on in life, like a transfer, so to speak. Okay. So the hard part about this for me was that, now I had a daughter. Okay. Now, some of you know some of my story about how, life and traumas crushed my heart to the point where I wasn't feeling love anymore. Okay. And it was very devastating to me as a mother to have this sense of caring and responsibility, but to not feel any joy or happiness or love during it, taking care of this child. And it happened after my fifth son was born. So my daughter, I was quite worried about this, because how am I going to give her the love that she needs? And I was lucky enough to where her dad actually did step up to the plate, and he was there for her every single day. And I noticed a different pattern. I noticed that she actually fell completely head over heels in love with him. She didn't want nothing. She didn't really care to have anything to do with me at the beginning, and I, at the time, quite honestly, was relieved, because I needed the break, because I'd just been so put upon for so many years and burnt out, not being able to take care of myself and not being able to give in the way that I feel like my other sons deserved. So finally, I sat back and I just watched my daughter. I watched her love her father. And I was thankful for that. And for the first, I'll just say this real quick, but like for the first 3 years, like she was completely in love with him. And then at 3 years old, things changed. And now she was just like my girl. Now she still loves her dad. She's still a daddy's girl to a certain extent, but she looks at me differently. And it took 3 years for that to happen, which just something to note. That's just something interesting. I just noticed these things. And so I sat there and I watched my daughter, and I watched her love her father. And it occurred to me, I thought to myself, wow, like I had this rocky relationship with my mother. And even though I'd repaired that and I had a mother to love again, it just really hit me deep that I'll never have a father to love. Like I'll never know. I never had that opportunity to bond to a man the way my daughter got to bond to her father. And I thought to myself, well, how am I supposed to know how a man is supposed to treat my heart if that's where we learn it from? If that's what I was teaching my sons, that by my love and my treatment of their love for me, then this was showing me a reflection of myself that was very hard for me to see. I thought to myself, wow, I'll never know. Hold on. I thought, my God, I thought this would be easier to say. I thought I'll never know what it's like to love a man just for his existence in this world alone, because surely this girl loved her dad just for the fact that he even existed and that he was there, And so I thought to myself, I'll never know what it's like to have my divine masculine template, like, in place. I don't even know what a healthy one looks like. I'll never know what that looks like. And I cried for quite a bit. And then I just thought to myself, I pulled myself out of it and I said, no, it's okay. Because you can love yourself. You can love yourself and you don't have to worry about that. And you can have a healthy relationship with yourself. That's what we can do. Let's not focus on outside of yourself. Let's focus on inside of yourself. So what I did, and this is where it gets even more embarrassing, but I'm telling it. So what I did was I decided, well, if everything that I want to have on the outside has to start on the inside, then what I want to start doing is I'm going to imagine the relationship. I'm going to imagine the relationship inside me first. I'm going to imagine my divine masculine and my divine feminine, and I'm going to make sure that they have a good relationship, because I felt like by having that that would be the only way for it to possibly show up even outside of myself, is to have it inside of me. Okay. So let's see, how do I go on from this next part? Give me 1 second. All right, there's yep. Okay, yeah, we're going on to the astrology after this part, so yay. If I can get through this part, guys, wish me luck. All right, here we go. So what I started doing was taking note of men that I thought looked healthy, looked like they had a healthy relationship with themselves and with people around them. And I started just taking note of what it felt like to be in, what's the word for it? To be in relation with them, to be in connection with them, how that made me feel. Okay. And so I just started, like I said, I started visualizing and making this version of my divine masculine and my divine feminine in my own mind. That's where I started it at. And wouldn't you know it, I started to feel better. I started to feel less desperate to find someone. I started to feel more like I'm never really alone. I have that, and I don't, it makes it so that I don't accept anything less than that. I don't accept, like, I'm not going, it makes it so that I'm braver now, okay, to speak my truth, even when it's hard, okay, because I know that inside of me, I care for myself. I care, like, I'll give you an example of what the divine masculine does for me. Okay, so my divine masculine, what he does is he offers me the space. That's right. That's the example. Okay, the divine feminine is like the rose. Okay, the divine feminine inside of a person is like the rose. It's supposed to bloom. It's supposed to be given a safe place for it to bloom into its fullness. Okay, well, the divine masculine is the garden. It's the garden. Okay, so what he does is he makes me feel like I have that space to be safe now. I have that space. Okay, and now, like, I can come here and I can be my most feminine self with people. And I think that's another thing that I thought about as after my live stream last week, was the fact that, I was talking about how, I just happen to get along better with men. I happen to, I don't know, maybe it's my divine masculine that makes me, the masculine energy inside me that makes me easier to get along with men for some reason. I couldn't understand. But, of course, Spirit brought me the exact answer that I needed about that. I don't think it's so much that it's the strength of my divine masculine. I think it's the softness of my divine feminine and my ability to allow other men to feel safe in being men. Because I won't shame them. I won't be harsh to them. Okay, I try to do my best to help them. I know that the world is harsh, and I want to be in the fullness of my. I'm in a female's body. I want to be in my fullness of the goddess embodiment. That's what I want. I wanted my divine masculine and feminine templates to be restored, so that I could be a helpful radiating frequency to help restore other people's. Because if they don't get restored, you end up playing these roles out, like these Davy Jones and these Calypso characters, and you end up playing out these roles, Anakin Skywalker and Padme. You end up playing out these roles of these corruptions that only because of what we've all been through on this planet together. What the experiment here of the free will choice, so to speak. Okay, so am I going to get into the rest of it? I don't know. Should I go into the rest? Oh, okay. So something very special did happen to me, actually. After starting to do all these things, they gave me dreams for years, okay, that this event was going to be coming up and taking place in my life. They told me in very funny ways, and in fact, ways that I resisted very much so, because they told me it was going to be a marriage. And they told me, gave me a dream. They said, 3 women came to me in this dream. And they said, you agreed to participate in this. So we need you to go ahead, and you agreed to participate in this wedding. You're going to need to go ahead and you're going to need to get your yellow wedding dress out of the freezer. Okay, because it's time. And I protested at the time, because in that particular dreamscape, I'm, not having all this other information yet. And I'm thinking, oh no, I'm never getting married again. Like, I've been through marriage before, and it didn't make me feel any different. I don't know why people wanted to, maybe it works differently for some people, but for me, if that's what it's going to be, then that is not what I want it to be. It's not what I want to do ever again, and it goes back to this whole idea of, because I'm tired of the fakeness. I'm tired of doing these ceremonies like baptisms and, all these types of things in religions that they've lost their true meaning and they've lost the feeling of it. I thought if I was ever going to get married again, I would hope, just like with baptism, being saved, accepting Jesus, I would think it would feel different somehow. It would feel different. And these other times that I've been married, it didn't feel any different. And it felt like an act. It felt like an act. And I was not going to be satisfied with that. And so they were telling me for years, showing me this event that was going to happen, the whole entire event. It didn't make sense to me at the time. It made sense to me once I got there, and so they told me it was going to be a marriage. And as I got closer to this event that they said was going to be a marriage, it's so funny because the actual dress I bought for this event was a wedding dress. Not just that, other synchronicities that came along with it, lots of them. I had a set of a lipstick, a little sample lipstick, okay, that I had saved years and years ago, even though I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to save makeup like that. But back in the day when I was still like, oh yeah, one day I'll get married, again, whatever, I had saved this lipstick for the day I would get married. And so when I went to go to this event and I bought this dress that turned out to be a wedding dress and came in a freezer bag looking thing, just like in the dream when they told me, and I decided, you know what, that's probably, I'm never going to get married again. So, why am I holding on to these things? Why am I holding on to, I should just use it now. I should just use it now. And sure enough, I get to this event and they're telling me, they told me all these things were going to happen. They told me I was going to be activated. They told me, they basically said, this is the person that we're going to base your divine masculine template off of. And I was like, what? Like, you guys are crazy. Like, I'm hearing crazy things. I remember one time I even argued with them. I said, because they were just constantly talking about it. And they said to me something, and I was like, okay, guys, y'all need to just stop here. And you know what? I said, because it's too much. I don't believe you. And they yelled at me. It was the only time they ever yelled at me. They said, we do not require your belief. And I was like, oh. I said, well, that's good because you don't have it at the time. And even with my dreams that preceded the one that well, all the dreams happened in the event. One of the other dreams that happened that was a similar dream, okay, is where I was actually back at my house and they were telling me, yeah, you remember your wedding? Like, it was a great wedding, and I was like, you guys, I did not get married. What the fuck are you talking about? And they said, no, it's 9/17. Don't you know? It's 9/17. We're at your house. It's 9/17. We're at your reception. And, I tried so hard around the day of 9/17 that year. I was still in denial. I was literally still living the dream. I was still in denial. I was saying to myself, I tried so hard not to write this certain specific message that they asked me to write. And I was like, if I send this on 9/17, I swear to God, I'm not going to let this dream be fulfilled. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to write it on that. And for days, I tried to get this message out ahead of time, and I could not do it. Could not. Ended up doing it on 9/17. Couldn't believe it. Still, I was in denial. Still. Because I think what really happened to me, was I do think I got married. I think that I got married inside myself. I think that it was the true meaning of Hermos Gamos, the union with God. Okay? Your inner reunion with God. And I truly felt like that. And I truly, the whole not wanting to do something again unless it was the real thing. When I got to that event and they said this is what's going to happen, and I looked and I sensed the energy and I said, okay, all right, I'll agree. And just like this, take you to this scene in in Pirates of the Caribbean, okay, where Calypso gets finally freed. So what it takes to make her free is it takes speaking the right words in the right frequency, right? It takes a breath exchange for that to happen. And she was freed she ignited, just like my heart ignited when I had the right words that were said to me, because it's important. The words you say for these events, they have to be spoken in a certain way with a certain frequency about it. And that was when my heart ignited, and that was when I came into full union with myself again, and my union with God. And I felt different. You know, even though I had felt different and I knew something had happened to me, it took me so long to figure out. And it wasn't until this past year, actually, I don't know, February, I think it was, that I finally just demanded to my spirit guides. I was just like, you guys are going to tell me what happened. You're going to tell me what happened right now, because I don't get it. You know, like, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm scrambling all these ways to try and figure out, okay, how, what was that? Because how do I share it with people? Because this is like the most important story in my life. And how do I share that with people in a way that gets the meaning out and gets the meaning of it across and doesn't get distorted somehow or looked at bad, you know, because it's a pearl, you know. This is one of my pearls, you know, and I've definitely learned. Got squirrel friends over here. I have definitely learned not that, you know, casting your pearls before swine can be a very painful thing. I've done that before. All right, sorry, my friend Squishy, I call him. Oh yeah. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, you know, how do I share this with someone? How do I share this with people, you know, in a way? Because I don't know how it will work for other people. I only know how it worked for me. I only know how I found out the way back to myself in this way. And so I did, like I said, I did feel differently after this. And that version of that relationship that I created in my mind, it became a present thing that was just always there now. It was just always around. And like that conversation, it actually kind of reminded me of Steven Universe and Garnet's character, if anyone knows about Steven Universe and the Crystal Gems. Okay, like Garnet, the character Garnet, she's two people. She is Sapphire, which is the psychic, and she is the Ruby Guard, which is the protector, which is basically how much more symbolic you can get for the divine feminine, divine masculine. All right. And when they combined, okay, which when they fused, they made a whole new person. All right. So that is kind of what I felt like. I felt like, wow, like, you know, I felt a little crazy, a little bit too, but now I always had this person to talk to. They were always there now. They're always to my right. Sometimes I call him Mr. Universe. He kind of looks like a universe. He looks like the shape of a universe. I don't know, like, how else to describe this character here. My divine masculine. So anyway, so yeah, this is what I think happened to me, and I really want other people to be able to experience that, because I think that one of the things that always threw me off with the words Hirmos Gamos was the fact that you hear that. For me, I've heard it related to twin flames. Okay, and for me, I was, what's the word, burned by twin flames. The words of it, the meaning behind it, it's like it's lost. It's been corrupted. Its purpose of the actual meaning of what that love even is has been corrupted to the point where I just see so many people being willing to put themselves in toxic situations and toxic relationships in the name of twin flame love. Okay, and I just was like, just turned off by it. I was turned off by the very word, you know. But if this is what that is, then I can tell you it's very much a deep and beautiful thing. It's just another form of love, because there's so many forms of love. There's so many forms of love out there. So anyway, let's get to the point though of well, I'll talk more about this in the future. This is just my first time. I'm just getting going, guys. Like, I plan on be doing these for a while. I guess I could look at the chat for a minute real quick. Are you guys seeing the squirrels over here? Yeah. Now you guys know my secret. It's Peanuts. I have like a little family, a little army of squirrels. Hey, There you go. You get it. Yep, go ahead. Yep, you getting it. I love listening. I like watching them eat it. I love hearing the crunch of them eat it and open it up and just watching them eat. It's just like I can feel their body when I look at them. I can feel it. I can feel the fur. I can feel the weight of their body, the air inside of it, even like all of it. I just absolutely love it. So let's get to the astrology portion of what I'm talking about now, though. Okay. So what we're going through right now, what we're about to be going through, is it's called an Antiscia. Okay, now this is a concept that actually they shouted at me like a year and a half ago. They woke me up at 5 in the morning one time and they told me, look this up, and I'm like, what does that mean? And it happened to be during the time of year that an Antiscia was happening, which is, it only has to do with there being the same amount of light and dark in a 24-hour period. Okay, now it's like a secretive kind of conjunction, actually. And where it's happening right now is it's happening in Mercury and Libra, being in Antiscia with Neptune and Pisces. Now, the main energy behind this, okay, is that it can be a little bit secretive in nature. And this is part of why I went so hard today with being more open. Even though I did not want to be, I was like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go all there. They were like, do it. They were like, do it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do it. And so that's what you have to be. You have to keep an eye out for. Okay. So what's happening right now? From about the 9th, you should be feeling the energies of it. It's also Mercury retrograde on top of it. What's happening right now from the 9th, 10th to about the 16th or 17th of September is that it's going to be like a secretive type of what's hidden, talking about, let's see, being secretive with your words, being careful which words you use. There's actually three themes that I was going to go over. The first theme is deception, secrets, and gossip. Okay. You have to be careful not to let the boundaries slip away when it comes to speech. All right. Be careful of hiding things, but also about being sneaky and about how you find out things too. Like this is a time you want to be careful. Like this could be like someone, as an example, someone, is my girlfriend cheating on me? So I'm going to go through her phone and I'm going to look like, how I find this information. Okay. So it's kind of like it could be that kind of an energy. All right. You also have to be careful. Basically, you have to be careful not to cross boundaries or violating people's privacy. Careful about talking behind someone's back about them. It's one thing to, say something underneath your breath real quick or whatever. But right now, with the energies right now, the consequences could be a little bit more heavy in the long run. So just be really careful about what you allow yourself to be inspired to say. Okay. And the second theme, okay, for this transit right now, because Mercury in Libra is very much someone who wants to keep the peace, someone who wants to keep the balance in communications to even maybe a little bit of a pristine kind of place, like to the point where like they don't, like they want to represent something that looks perfect. Okay. Even though nothing on this planet, no one is perfect. Okay. So the other thing that I want you guys to watch out for is giving or needing too much. Okay. The energies right now, you have to be careful about negotiations and balancing acts of someone who may be asking too much or being too needy. Okay, that's very easy thing for people to fall into with the Neptune and Pisces. Okay. On the other hand, I'm reading my notes at this point now. On the other hand, you might actually be too compromising and you might give too much. Like you might want a problem to go away so bad that you just, I'm just going to give this person what they want and just shut them up. You know what I'm saying? But it might be giving too much. Okay. You might be being too compromising. Be careful of that balance right now when it comes to these transits. Okay. Be careful of people trying to drain you. It could be very easy for that. People taking too much. Also, mind yourself about, you might be more inspired to give in more charitable type of ways, but just be careful that you're not giving too much of yourself in a charitable way to where you don't have enough for your own self. Okay, so that's one of the things. If it's a noble cause, just be aware of your intentions when you're giving. And that really goes true the same for so many things. Just be aware of your intentions. It's the most important thing. Okay. And the last thing is the last theme, which I'll be honest with you guys, I I'm trying to put in my own words what my teacher, my astrology teacher that I follow a lot of, what he teaches us and the examples he used. I try to take those and I try to just word them in my own way and how I understand them. So the theme part is not exactly new, but the way I'm describing the themes is from myself here. Okay, so you might be feeling pressure to maintain certain appearances. That's the Libra part of it. Okay, Mercury in Libra, because it's ruled by Venus. Okay, and Venus is about looks and appearances and things of that nature. Okay, so you got to be careful not to pressure yourself into creating an ideal image for yourself, and instead allow yourself to be seen with the mess. Allow yourself to be seen with the imperfections that are all normal for all of us. Okay, and I feel like even when you're not aware of these transits, you'll still be affected by these transits in these ways. I'm just basically trying to point them out to you so that way you can see, first of all, that astrology is real, because I've already seen several people who are going through coming to these same conclusions, to make sure that they just, you know what, let me just be real. Let me just put it all out there. Okay. So I'm trying to help you be aware of those things and trust astrology, so that way in the future, if you need to, you can go and you can look at an upcoming transit and you can kind of prepare yourself a little bit. Okay, so we talked a little bit even too about, you know, Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde is happening right now and stuff like that, and how that was supposed to be bringing light into an aggressive ways into certain areas of your life. You know what I'm saying? Mercury retrograde is going to make you want to go through with, in Virgo, right? We're in Virgo. Okay, it's going to make you want to go through every single thing in your life with like a fine-tooth comb, all the past stuff, to help you discover what's serving you and what's not serving you. Okay, no. All right, so eventually that which is hidden comes to light, and it can't be repressed forever. So just be careful not to be seduced by an image of perfection. All right. Lastly, sometimes there's no easy solution. Yeah, lastly, sometimes there's just no easy solution. So if there's some problems coming up for you now, just be careful to know your boundaries. Okay, not to give too much. Okay, not to take too much. You know, things of that nature that I constantly have to say those words for some reason. Okay. So that's the majority of it. I'm going to go ahead and see, you know, I'm going to scroll back up and see if Barry remembered his question, because I felt really bad about not getting that. Let's see. Oh, it slipped his mind. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's see if I can read any other comments fast enough to respond to you guys. Okay. All right, so let me know if you guys have any other questions in the chat while I'm reading over some of these. Yes, there you go. All right, yep. Okay, here we go. Keeping up with the Joneses, nice. Oh, and Indiana Jones, that's a good idea. That's another good one to look at for me. I would not mind taking a look at the Indiana Jones characters. I actually do have a little bit of some experience with that. A little bit of, like, at one point they showed me someone showed in another dream I had. It was someone showed me a star that they were holding at their center, and it was like the same texture of that Holy Grail and things of that nature. So I do know that there's definitely significance in that film. I mean, who doesn't love the Indiana Jones character? And I just love going into the deeper meanings behind these movies. So I definitely will have to take a look at that, and I'll get back to you on that. Past lives matter. Yeah, that's the slogan. And you know where I got that from? Actually, I got that from Alexis over at Ascension Diaries. She actually made a shirt. If you guys are interested, it says Past Lives Matter on it. And I just thought that was so funny, but I did not realize how relevant it was going to be, because like I said, it's not until I realize and uncover these past life traumas and get them out, and that I'm able to finally let go of those feelings, you know, which is such a freeing thing, because you just don't realize sometimes what you're even holding on to if it's just been in your body for so long and you've just grown comfortable and used to it feeling like that. You know, like once it's gone, it's just going to feel, you're just going to feel completely new. You're going to feel completely different. And I want everyone to feel freer. So let's see. Yeah. All right. I'm not sure if I'm seeing any more questions. I'm looking for the question marks here. Oh, thank you for hearing me, Queen Victor. Thank you for hearing me. I really appreciate that comment. Yeah, I'm going to go more into false twin flame stuff later on, just because, like I said, I mean, love is one of my passions. I want to see people happy. I like seeing happy couples. It makes me happy. And if that means we got to fix that relationship of your divine masculine and feminine first, then let's focus on that and let's see how we can get that done, because I don't want you guys living out these patterns of pain and suffering. I want to help you guys clear that out. And maybe I can do that with my example is what I'm doing. Yeah, I want to get one of those shirts too. All right. Well, how long has it been? Okay, I went pretty good today. Alien love bites. Yes, exactly. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. I've seen it happen literally to one of my friends just right before my eyes. Just watch them go through it and still watch them struggle with it. It's very hard, actually. They're getting a little wild now. Okay, guys. So unless there's anything else, I'm going to wait for 1 minute and make sure that there's nothing else anyone wants to talk about, and then I'm going to go ahead and take off. I love you guys. I love you, Miss Liz. Thank you for being my moderator. I'm so appreciative of it. Bye, guys. I'll see you later. I'll see you next week.